In this video, we are going to talk about why you long for passion as a fearful avoidant. I am Pauline and I am so happy you are here because the better you understand yourself and why you want the things you want, the easier it's going to be to recognize the patterns and to release them. And everything you want for a reason, and that reason is totally fine. It's not wrong. It's not wrong to want for passion in your relationship. It's just that a lot of fearful avoidance want that passion from a wound, and therefore it will never be fully fulfilled or never feel fully fulfilled, or it will cause you to be in unhealthy and toxic relationships. So let's break this down a little bit. The whole passion thing, it's so interesting because when I began my relationship, that sounds so official, with my now husband, which is more than 13 years ago, guys. That's crazy. That's so long. We've just been married 7 years, which is also crazy long. But for those who don't know, if you are new here and you haven't heard it yet, 13 years ago, I met an amazing guy, and I fell deep into the what I call crash state of the fearful avoidant attachment style, and I had intense doubts about my relationship, and all of them focused on whether I was in love enough, whether I felt enough butterflies and sparks, and I really longed for passion. I wanted passion so much, and I really genuinely thought that if I would feel that, if I would feel all these intense emotions, that then I would be happy. Looking back, I know that what I was looking for was to feel safe. And it sounds so weird because passion is quite fiery, and the way fearful avoidance experience it can be quite dramatic also. So why would that be safe? That's weird, right? But I'm going to go into that in a minute. But it was one of the things that really tripped me up in allowing a healthy relationship, a healthy and happy relationship, because I thought, no, we need passion, we need that passion. And when I realized that not everybody wants that, I was like, well, I want it and I need it, so this relationship isn't right, and I need to find somebody else. I didn't. And 13 years on, I'm very happy. But I had to learn a few things, and I really had to heal a few things. So the reason that fearful avoidance long for passion has a lot to do with the emotional intensity. So the idea fearful avoidance have of what a healthy and happy relationship looks like has a lot to do with intense emotions, intense feelings. So intense attraction, intense passion, intense butterflies and wanting to be with that person all the time. And when that's not there, which is a lot of the times in just normal, healthy relationships, that can cause you to doubt the relationship because you start to doubt your feelings. But what is actually happening is that the absence of the emotional intensity is unfamiliar to your system, is unfamiliar to your fear brain, and therefore threatening. So where this comes from is that the fearful avoidant attachment style develops because of in a sense, emotional intensity in childhood. So that could mean that one of your parents was a fearful avoidant, and there was just a lot of emotional roller coaster going on when you were younger. So that person could get very angry and could be very loving, so very hot and cold. It could also be that there was just a lot of chaos in the home. So your parents maybe fought a lot, or maybe with a brother or sister. There was just a lot of fighting and a lot of emotional volatility, and not a very stable home. And with a stable home, I don't mean your parents could still be together and have like a stable marriage. With a stable home, I mean that your parents were loving and patient and calm in a consistent manner. So you knew what to expect and you weren't walking on eggshells trying to not piss anybody off because they could get very, very angry. When you have had a sense of having to walk on eggshells or a lot of tension in the home, or maybe a parent that was hypercritical. I also have a video on 6 unexpected causes of the fearful avoidant attachment style. I'll link it below. So check that out if you want to know more. But even a hypercritical parent can create this sense of emotional intensity because you just are so focused on having to do it right. And when you do it right, you get this high of approval. And then when you do it wrong, you feel really bad about yourself. And all of that is very intense. So you grow up with a fear system that is actually attuned to this very intense emotional roller coaster. And in a way, your body gets addicted to that. It's really an addiction to the highs and lows. And what you see is that people that have the fearful avoidant attachment style, they either enter into toxic, unhealthy relationships because there is so much emotional intensity, and that's in a way feels familiar and therefore feels like home, and you can definitely confuse that with intense love. So what you see is that people are in these relationships that are really unhealthy, and you can get really unhappy in a way, but you think, no, but this is love. This is what it's supposed to feel like. When everything is right, it's so good. It's so good. So all we have to do is work on the toxic parts. And when those are gone, then we'll be fine. But the thing is, even if, as a miracle, those toxic parts of the relationship would just vanish, that's when the healing process would start. That's when the struggle would start, because your fear system is not accustomed to, is not attuned to safety and stability. So it will feel very uneasy, or it will feel unease with stability and safety and consistency. So you might think that in a toxic, unhealthy relationship where you have all these really intense feelings that feel good in a way, that the only problem is fixing the toxic parts. But that is really not the problem, because if that would happen, you would flip over to doubting your feelings, doubting the other person coming too close, and you being scared of that and pushing them away. You would get into a whole different dynamic. And that dynamic is what you see when you enter into a healthy relationship with somebody that's actually probably securely attached and that is just there for you, committed, loyal, but also safe and stable. And because you are so addicted to that emotional volatility, to that emotional intensity, the highs and lows, the peaks and valleys, you will have a very hard time relaxing in a very healthy and stable relationship and accepting that as love. Your fear brain, your system will crave the emotional intensity, and you translate that as passion. So actually, a lot of the movies we see portray fearful avoidant attachment style kind of signs. I won't say they are those styles, but especially like that, the really intense passion and intense feelings, that's just easier to portray in movies, so that's what they use a lot. It's not necessarily the healthiest. There are a lot of movies that just do not portray healthy relationships at all. But you translate that craving, that emotional intensity, to passion. So you think you want passion, but what you want is actually that emotional volatility. Because passion can absolutely exist in a stable and loving relationship, it will just look differently and in a way that scares the shit out of the fearful avoidant. Because true passion, lifelong, healthy passion, comes from deep intimacy. And intimacy is something the fearful avoidant wants so badly and is scared of so much. So you seek it in the highs and lows, in getting approval and getting rejected, in things going really well and then things crashing and burning. And when you don't have that in your relationship, you might actually find it or seek it in different parts of your life, which is very interesting. If you notice the pattern in your relationship, try to see where you copy paste that pattern and try to emulate that feeling of intense highs and intense lows. So this is a very important part to heal: the craving, the emotional intensity, the craving of the emotional roller coaster. And it really was a grieving process for me. I really grieved that feeling of getting approval, and then also grieved the feeling of getting rejected, because you need the low, you need the getting rejected, you need the crashing and burning in order to create the emotional roller coaster, to make the getting approval and things going really well feel so intensely good. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope this is clear. So I also needed to grieve the getting rejected and the crashing and burning, even though I was so sick of it and it took so much energy out of me. I created it, and I had to take responsibility for that I created that, because my body just craved it and my body was addicted to it, to that cocktail of hormones that gets released when you get into that emotional roller coaster. So what I've learned now that I've healed this fearful avoidant attachment style is that the passion you feel when you're in a stable and loving relationship, and it's the passion comes through deep intimacy, it's much more rich. It's so much more fulfilling. So the highs that I had from approval and from the times that went good in my toxic relationships don't compare to what I feel now on a pretty consistent basis. But in order to get there, you really need to acknowledge the emotional roller coaster, acknowledge that your version of passion is not a very healthy one, and grieve that part of you that wants that so badly because it feels familiar. You can absolutely heal this. And tapping is such a good tool. And if you've watched a few videos, you know that I always mention tapping. It's such a powerful tool to release these cravings, these needs, these things that you feel like you have to have, because otherwise you just won't survive or you won't like life. Tapping is amazing for that. And in the program I am developing, the English program, because I already have Dutch program. The English program, this will definitely be something we will tap on to release the craving of this emotional roller coaster, and the time and energy it will free up for you to focus on other things, to relax, to enjoy, to savor, to get nourishment. Man, it will change your life, just releasing this unhealthy pattern of longing for passion in an unhealthy way. But I just want you to know that the longing for that passion is not wrong. It's not wrong that you do that. Don't make yourself wrong for it. It's very logical where that comes from. It's just, it feels familiar to you, and it's really trauma based. So it's not bad at all. It's just something you can heal, and that will give you so much if you do. So if you're interested in that program where we just go to the roots of this attachment style, and we don't only recognize the patterns, and you will get to know yourself so much better and know why you do the things you do, when you think the things you think and you feel the things you feel, we will also release them from your body, from your energy system, if you will, because that's where it gets stored. You can recognize the patterns all day, every day, and still won't be able to break through them, because this is so visceral. It's stored in your body. So that's where tapping comes in, where it's an amazing tool. I have a few videos on this channel where I tap also. One is how to heal the fearful avoidant attachment style. So definitely check that out if you want to know more about this tool. If you want to know more about the program, it is in development, and you can put yourself on the wait list. I will keep you updated on when the program is open and ready for you to join. And if you want to know more about the fearful avoidant attachment style, what it is, the lesser known causes or the unexpected causes of the fearful avoidant attachment style, just look at the videos. Maybe they're here in the screen, otherwise they're in the description below. And let me know if this video was valuable to you and if this was kind of an eye-opener, and whether you already knew that you saw passion in this way or why you longed for passion. Just tell me all the things in the comments. I love talking to you. I love hearing from you.